Good morning. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Coffee and Compliance. We're going to be discussing and answering questions today about how transparency and traceability are evolving through collaboration and ultimately trust. I'm Holly Waters-Marsh from Urban Fox Marketing, and I'm speaking to Swapan today, the CEO of Deeplai.
Good morning.
Morning, Swapan. Before we start with today's topic, are there any updates on the eudr that you could share, please?
Yes, today is a very important day. So the trialogue meeting of the EU Commission, the Council, and the Parliament is scheduled to get a final wording of the eventual changes which are going to happen. Hearing a lot of stories here around this one. So let's see what's going to happen. Everybody is expecting a delay, which I think will happen for sure. The question is, what else will be agreed here? One thing, just to add, we're observing that there are a number of clients who are already prepared and they're moving on with the compliance processes because all has been, agreed and implemented. And also, recently I was participating on a webinar as a speaker where it was well recognized that you need weeks and months to gather the information to really get prepared. So whoever is counting on a delay, that's good. But please begin to start now. Otherwise, you will not get ready in a couple of months.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, back to our topic for today then. So we are going to be covering the role of multi-stakeholder collaboration in sustainable natural products supply chains, emerging standards and interoperability frameworks, and also how circular economy goals depend on robust product data systems. So today's episode looks at one of the most important shifts happening across global supply chains for natural products. The move towards shared digital ecosystems to address environmental challenges, spaces where companies, producers, auditors, and even regulators collaborate to exchange verified information and build trust together. As regulations tighten, expectations from retailers rise, and consumers demand proof behind those sustainability claims, and trust becomes even more important. And as we all know, environmental challenges are international. Deforestation, climate change, loss of species, they don't stop at the borders between countries. So multiple regulations and global certification schemes harmonise those efforts and create shared responsibility across nations and industries to contribute to protecting the environment. And trust is central to this to ensure that there's a smooth and efficient process in place. So back to the initial focus points for our discussion today, Swapan. The first one there, how important is a multi-stakeholder collaboration in the natural product supply chain?
I would say it's extremely important when we're thinking about the information which is happening at the first mile. So we need to gather the right information, which we can then spread around across our supply chains. And as you mentioned, there are no frontiers for that. Yeah? We're in a global world. And usually we're linked in multiple supply chains. Yeah. So
Mm,
when we think about it, I think we need to understand that compliance is today a mindset, and I don't think it is a topic to be discussed if we need to be compliant.
mm,
It's how we're getting compliant, because it is inevitable that the processes are there, they're in place, and we need to take care of the entire supply chains. Yeah, we're facing in many cases that still the business is driven by a good deal. Yeah, so I'm having an opportunity to get, a container of a product at a good price. I found it. Yeah. Okay, that's great, for the business model. But the question is the supplier is compliant? Yeah. So do we still are willing to go in this, let's say, business approach, or we rather are sticking with suppliers whom we know, whom we trust, and who are also are caring about the traceability, transparency on their side of the supply chain, which we can then use when we're in the supply chain at a higher level. So when we look at it in the multi, I mean channel supply chains, we will observe that now the compliance is coming from or from the top. So it is the upstream. So we're asked to deliver information, which is confirming, the compliance, or it is a downstream approach where we as a producer, we are able to gather the first mile information, which we can then spread around and build our brand, our trust, and obviously, in the long term, understand that the recommendation I would say is every company should think in the long-term strategy of their development, their market position, their market share, how to get compliant, because
Mhm.
that is a requirement. Today it's no more just nice to have. Yeah.
Yeah, that's essential. And what are the emerging standards and interoperability frameworks available?
And here we are addressing the most complex, topic. Yeah,
Mm.
there are a lot of approaches which are ready to prepare analysis of data. Yeah,
Yeah.
um, uh, but the question is about the quality of the input data. Yeah. So, as usually in the IT world, the saying rubbish in, rubbish out. Yeah. But here, it is more important that we understand the quality of the data,
Yeah.
because in many cases we're observing different kind of reports. From that reports, we're getting analysis. But let's step, aside, or two steps, back. Did we use the right, data for this report? So this is the first the question mark everybody should be asking. Yeah. So when we look now how the different IT systems are interacting, what is the data exchange? Obviously, everybody is trying to keep his data privacy, security. Only is willing to share what he needs to share. Yeah.
Mhm.
And by understanding this, we need also to recognize that within the multi-stakeholders supply chain, without a closer collaboration, without building the trust, on the long term, we shall be not able to get the right, data to provide the right analysis.
Mhm. And how are circular economy goals dependent on robust product data system?
Yeah, that's basically where we are. I think everybody's aiming, yeah, to get the right information and to present ourselves. Yeah, we saw a lot of ESG initiatives. Yeah, and environmental, I think, is in the mind of all people who care about our climate, about the future. So we're all, I think, supportive to be environmental friendly, to be ESG friendly, but still at the other side of the coin is the business. Yeah.
Mhm.
So now, how do we match those two sides of the coin? Yeah, we are supportive, and at the same time, we need to take care about our business model, about our growth, about our margins, about our bottom lines. So, here is the challenge, and the only way I believe is once we will agree to do just a step back and say, okay, let's now have a discussion. Let's see what is today available, what technologies are there which can bring us the right information. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we discussed that few sessions ago, but it's very important to be said because we're talking about natural product supply chains. Yeah. So uh, everybody knows that, to code mark a product for traceability is easy. Yeah. Yeah, it is easy when once we're talking about standard products which we see in the grocery shop or in a pharma. Yeah.
Mm.
But when we think about natural products, and here we can come back to the eudr. Yeah, we talk about timber, we talk about coffee, we talk about rubber, we talk about palm oil,
Mm.
talk about cacao. So how to gather the right traceability information? Yeah, how to get this information, which should be at the level of being relevant and verifiable. Yeah.
Mm.
So here the technology is moving. We're getting different new opportunities, how to address it. And here basically is the recommendation. Yeah, just step aside, have a look how to adopt the new technologies which are here on the market, and how we can address it in our supply chain. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that is great advice. And so looking at further questions that we've got here. So when we talk about the future of trust, what does that actually mean in the context of digital supply chains?
Yeah, it's my view on that is I still believe that a brand is a value.
Mm.
Maybe 30, 40 years ago was different, even a bigger value, yeah, because everybody was really taking, I mean, care of that, yeah. But at that time, obviously, the business environment was different than it is today.
Mhm.
So we're now in a digital world, yeah, and if we're buying a product online, uh, unfortunately, usually as a consumer, we're driven by the price and availability. Yeah. We're not looking much on the brand, yeah, thing. Uh, but on the other hand, I believe that the brands who are really are caring and want to uh, build their position on the market are understanding that one of the key parts of attracting the clients is saying, look, I'm compliant, I'm taking care about the environment, I'm taking care about the ESG, and I have a full transparency in my supply chain.
Mm.
By buying my product, you're supporting all this good practices, and you're really getting a good product which can last for a longer time. Yeah. So that will be always, the balance where we need to find, the right approach. But I still believe that as economy is always driven by a cycle which has ups and downs,
Mm.
is equally important here. I strongly believe that the cycle of compliance will be moving up, and the consumers will care more and more when they're buying a product that they will get it from a brand which is compliant.
Yeah. And I think from a commercial point of view, if a brand increases its value, then that can be translated into, the how much they can charge as well. And there's lots of benefits that way, isn't there?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so why is trust becoming such a central theme in technology and data-driven ecosystems?
That's when we're talking about data. So first of all, we're discussing how to gather the data, especially at the first mile. Yeah. So that's very, very important. But equally important, can we trust the data? Yeah. In a
Hmm.
digital world, misappropriations are on a daily basis. Yeah. So now, once we know we have the technology which is supporting us in gathering the data, now we need to make sure that we can trust the data. So we need to build the levels of evidence
Hmm.
which are unfakeable. Yeah, we need to get the capability to say, look, you can audit me at any time. I'm ready here, and that is my answer. Yeah, so you can trust my data because obviously I'm not sharing them. It's my privacy. But I'm ready to be open for any audit, of a transaction, of a deal, of whatever we say. Yeah. So this is the way we're building our trust. Yeah. So we were discussing that already sometime that, for example, there are some commodities as cotton. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's difficult to have a traceability of cotton. Yeah. But you can solve it with, let's say, sampling. And then once you want to get a proof, you can do a DNA test of the sample. Yeah. And this is the way how you can prove that, yes, my data are accurate, are correct. Yeah? So this is one of them. There are multiple examples how the technology is moving, where we can at the same time gather the appropriate data and also add a layer of trust which will support our stakeholders in the supply chain that they're willing to do business with us. Yeah.
Hmm. And what does a digital ecosystem look like in practice, and who are the key players within it? How important is shared responsibility in creating trustworthy digital systems?
This is also very, very important because what we're observing, depending, obviously, every sector, every industry has their own specifics. Yeah. Some are more advanced in the IT world, some are less advanced in the IT world. The challenge is here, the communication level among different systems. Yeah.
Hmm.
And once we're building an ecosystem, we need to try to make sure that we're allowing the entire supply chain, all the stakeholders, to get to a level of collaboration
Hmm.
at the level of working in a digital environment, which is supporting the processes which are needed here. At the same time, as I'm always saying, which is very important, keeping the data privacy and data security.
Yeah.
This is obvious in business. Yeah. So now, as we were talking, I mean, today, the question is not if we want to do it. I think there are a lot of managers, of CEOs or owners of the company who want, but I think many cases they do not know how. Yeah.
Mm.
And here, obviously, you need to devote your time to it. This is not things which are happening overnight. Yeah. You need to devote, I mean, time, and you need to incorporate it in your long-term strategy of your development of your business. Yeah. Once you do it, you will have time for it. You'll have resources for it. You'll adopt the right technology, and you can then say, "Okay, I am now a part of this ecosystem, and in this ecosystem, we're using this technology, which is enabling us to have what is required." So um, secure, I mean data which are trustable, and we can do at any time the verification of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And throughout our coffee and compliance episodes, we've talked a lot about eudr, but then also we have mentioned that there are, lots of other regulations and things that companies need to comply with that are really essential as well. And actually, in the coming months, the digital product passport will be enforced. What impact is that going to have on the natural product supply chain?
Thank you. That's a really excellent question because that addresses all what I was saying here. Yeah. So by preparing your company to be compliant, you cannot look at one regulation which is being interpreted. Okay, oh, okay, I have to do this
Mm,
because I must do it. Yeah. So there is not one regulation. There are a number of regulations. Yeah, and there'll be more regulations still because that is the environment where we are. Yeah,
mm,
it is driven by regulations, so they're inevitable. Yeah. So now, when we think about being, I mean, compliant, we need to be thinking how we'll address all the regulations which will come. And the simplest way how to do it is to build the ecosystem of transparency in traceability and gathering all relevant documentation which is supporting these processes. Yeah. So to point, I mean, this one, we are focusing on the natural products. Yeah. So one of the items which we're looking at, I mean, today is furniture on the
mm,
digital product passport. Yeah. The deadlines are quite short because we're talking about, in 6 months, the regulation is live and it is being obligatory in the next 18 months.
mm,
So when we look at all the obligations under digital product, I mean passport, we will find out, oh, there are a significant part of it is related to eudr, so to the compliance to gathering information.
yeah.
So by not getting ready to be compliant with eudr and pushing, shift the clock and do this, etc., I forget that I'll be not able to meet the objectives of the digital product, I mean, passport. And this will be not postponed. It is related to multiple commodities, yeah?
Mm,
And they will be adopted by this regulation step by step. So 2027 is the deadline for the furniture producers.
mhm,
I think 2028 it is tire type. So we got again relevance with the eudr and the rubber
yeah.
traceability. Yeah. So everything is coming. Yeah. We got other regulations. So to make long story short, be compliant is a must. I mean, today. Otherwise, we'll be totally out of business. So no more nice to have. Yeah. The sooner we were thinking about it, the better it's for us. Yeah.
Yeah, that's essential, isn't it? And you touched earlier on GDPR and the importance of data protection. But how do we strike that balance between transparency and protecting sensitive commercial data?
We are recommending, and I think that's the best way that in the due diligence process which you are implementing in your multi-stakeholder supply chain, you're first building on the assessment of the organizations and the trust in general, yeah. And then you are agreeing that everybody is keeping his data privacy, is protecting his data. But now, how can we be sure that the stakeholders are compliant with the agreement which we have done in our ecosystem? You can only do it by auditing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So once you are building in a robust system of auditing of transactions, that's what we think is the best approach. You'll find out if for that transaction all the information is there. So it's very, I mean, simple. If you randomly will select a transaction,
Hmm.
provide an audit, you'll get the answer. Yeah. So in order to pass an audit, you need to be ready for all transactions. Otherwise, you can face a situation that you will not comply with the audit. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And realistically, how long does it take for a business to gather the relevant info and become compliant?
Um, the assumption of the of companies which are at the path where they're just beginning to consider how to approach this topic, there is a belief that it takes short time, which is, let's say, calculated in weeks.
Hmm.
And once they begin the process, obviously depending on the complexity and the place where they are in the supply chain, usually they find out that it takes not weeks, but it's months. So having IT support and tools which are helping the companies to get automation, to get the processes in place, that's one thing. Gathering information, relevant and verifiable information, yeah,
Yeah,
that is another thing. And if you look, as I say, on the complexity of the supply chain, it can take like months. So if you want to be ready with the compliance, you should think that it will take at least from 6 to 12 months. There's a minimum which will happen in the real life. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So you need to plan that in good time. Okay, and then for companies that already have PEFC and FSC certification, how does that contribute to Timber ID's process and platform?
And our approach is the transaction level transparency. So once you are gathering all the relevant information and documentation on a transaction level, basically you are auditable at any time. You don't need to prepare for the audit. So a lot of savings here as well on the preparation to get an audit from FSC, PFC, because you're ready to be auditable at any moment. So additional, I would say, first of all, it's a saving, it's cost
Mhm.
effective. And secondly, it's guaranteeing that all the processes are in place and will not find out after 12 months that we missed, something, yeah, and we'll have difficulties to get certified. So, the if we can automate it, my recommendation, just do it and move on. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and finally, how can Timber ID give me peace of mind with becoming compliant? How can I pass this on to my customer to give them peace of mind?
That's exactly what we're doing with our electronic delivery note approach. So decentralized systems, everybody is owning his own instance, or he's sharing a supply instance to his supplier. Everybody is really responsible of all the documentation which is being provided on an instance. There is a full evidence of who did what and when, and so easy to be auditable. At the same time, a lot of efficiency because all the documentation is being passed electronically, and we have no headache and workload to use this information. So that is the way we're doing it. Electronic delivery note, simple, robust, and giving a lot of efficiency.
Brilliant. Great stuff. Well, thank you. That brings us to the end of this episode of Coffee on Compliance. So thank you everybody for joining us today. So to sum up the session, we've talked about how trust enables collaboration in the supply chain for natural products and how circular economy goals are dependent on robust data. And as Swapan said, what you're putting in, the quality of that data. And we've also discussed the reality of how long it can take an organization to become compliant. So take mind to plan that in. And we've also looked at how companies can pass that value on and that benefit to their client to give them peace of mind as well as you. So join us next Thursday at 9:30 when we'll be answering your questions again. And this time we're going to be talking about the upcoming deadline, which we touched on in this episode, for digital product passports for the furniture industry. And that's aimed at improving transparency, sustainability, and circularity in products. And we'll also be looking at how it will help furniture manufacturers, retailers, and consumers to make informed decisions. Thank you so much. See you next week.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Have a good day.